So Andres with Palm Beach Living YouTube channel over here. We have Elizabeth. She is one of my partners in the mortgage side. If you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Elizabeth Lopez. I've had the pleasure of working with Andre for quite some time now, and thank you so much for having me on because I just think your dedication to the community and just the knowledge that you just bring to this field is absolutely amazing. So thank you for having us, and we hope that we get just a lot of good information across to everybody. I've been doing this for over 20 years in financing, and just love what we do, putting shelter over people's heads and it's what we do best. So we're here to help currently with the mortgage firm, Wellington Lake Worth office. And again, just loan officer here to help.
Not just any kind of loan officer. So a little bit about me. Came out of the Marine Corps in 2019, came down to Florida. 2020 happened, coronavirus. Real estate was just pandemonium. But Elizabeth has been very impactful in just helping me maneuver around all of the benefits that we have as veterans. And I really wanted to bring that at the forefront of this discussion. With that being said, so I'm aware that there is some sort of Hometown for Hero program. Can you go a little bit more about that?
Yes, so Hometown Heroes program originally started last year in June, only strictly for Florida right now. So I think it's helped so many people. In particular, I think veterans have. I've done quite a few VA Hometown Hero loans, and they're honestly my favorite to do. It's so satisfying and so rewarding to know that we could give back after our veterans have given so much to us. So one thing that I will say, especially to the real estate agents, I love being able to just talk to people about what a VA loan is, because it's nothing to be scared about. I mean, are there certain restrictions to certain things? Absolutely, but every single loan has them. But I do think that when it comes to VA loans, I think it should take priority sometimes, because I think that they have it all together, and there's so much help that they're unaware of,
Yeah.
that is out there. So it's almost like a done deal, with VA loans, and I think people are missing out. So keep that in the back of your head. But Hometown Heroes, actually, one of my favorite things about Hometown Heroes is that besides the fact, so VA loans are, we know that there's no down payment. But the closing cost obviously exists. And then there's obviously a funding fee that, depending on your disability, we determine how much of that funding fee you have to pay. Well, Hometown Heroes, what that's done is that it's actually been able to cover, if there's a funding fee, they haven't been able have to come out of pocket for the funding fee. If a funding fee is waived because of the disability, I've done a couple that 90% disability, so then therefore they have no funding fee anyways. So at that point, even though there is a 100%, that the loan is covered 100%, so it's 100% funded and covered, you are actually not closing with 100% loan to value, because Hometown Heroes, besides covering the closing costs, whatever additional amount of that 5%, again, 5% of the loan amount, and I'll go into that a little bit in a minute, but that's going towards the principal. So what ends up happening is that sometimes, like, I close, and maybe instead of 100% financed, it's 98% financed, and it makes a little bit of a difference on how much money they're going to be having to pay as far as their interest rate goes. And even their monthly payment might come down a little bit, but the point is that it's not 100, it's not like you're being covered just a little bit. I mean, I love that veterans are being included with this Hometown Heroes. I mean, it's exactly what the program is, Heroes. And I think they're walking away with just being able to order an appraisal and an inspection fee, which those two fees are done prior to the loan closing. So those two fees are non-refundable, not included in the loan. But I've had it to where I've been able to close Hometown Hero loans with less than $1,000 because of those two fees. So, and keep in mind, right now, I was actually looking it up, and my jaw drops because now we're at $28 million left for the Hometown Heroes program. We
Where did that
started this year.
start? Yeah.
It started July 1st, and we have bets going in the office right now, like of how much, how longer this is going to be around. So here we are, mid-August, and we're pretty much 70%, 75% done, with the funds that were allotted July 1st.
And what that means, like if I'm hearing this and I'm hearing, wow, okay, 75% is already done. It started back when in July, and it started from $100 million. So I mean, you can do the math on that. What does that mean to me if I may be thinking about, looking to buy real estate, or maybe downsizing, or even thinking about it? What does that mean for me?
Yeah, that means we need to get your application in ASAP. So we cannot reserve funds for Hometown Heroes unless you're under contract or we have something going on for you. So as much as I want to take that, 28 million and start saving it for my borrowers right now, there's no way. Once it's out, it's out.
Mhm.
So just make sure that, you're not missing out, and that if you are thinking of purchasing a home, as long as you're under contract, we're able to go ahead and reserve the funds for you. So, um, and by reserve the funds, I know that there's a lot of lenders and maybe some rumors that, they say, oh, it's very hard to reserve the funds. It takes me literally 10 minutes to reserve funds and we're done. So this program has again helped so many, but just please don't delay on it, because as you could see, already a month and a half in, 75% is gone.
Yeah.
Last year it actually took a year for it, but it's only because certain occupations were allowed to have, this program. This year it's open to everybody and everybody's taking advantage of it. So um that's just something to keep in mind. So definitely get your application in. We'll share that information on how to do it. I'm sure later on, maybe we could go ahead and post it. And as long as we have an application and you're out there looking, once you're under contract, we could go ahead and reserve the funds.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, as veterans, I'm a United States Marine, as you know. I'm not sure if I said that, but we really appreciate when we come out and we're taken care of, and especially in these
Absolutely.
aspects, because we get inundated with so much information on the way out, EAS for all my fellow Marines and fellow vets, and you're just inundated with how to transition back into the civilian world. And there's
Mhm.
so much, that you're being thrown at, that you just can't even grasp, like the most beneficial programs that, I hear stories all the time that if they would have just known a little bit further, they
Yeah.
would have ended up homeless.
Yeah.
They would have ended up living in a car. So that's why I think it's super important to have these kind of conversations, and to definitely, get people to kind of wake up. If you're thinking about if you're thinking about buying real estate, definitely need to reach out, and you definitely need to see what programs may be available to you, because you just
Yeah.
don't know at the end of
And
the
you're
day.
absolutely right. You and I have had this conversation before. Um, it's pretty crazy to me, and the way that you explained it, that you're pretty much, I guess in layman terms, almost like let loose and, start your life, again. And, thank you for your service too, because I think this is something that, again, like VA loans to me are just, I take it to heart, and to me they're just very special. And I will tell you that there's so many veterans that I come across, and they have no idea, what a funding fee is, or how can we go ahead and get rid of certain things. They don't need that much money to come. There's programs out there. They don't need to come to closing with a down payment and closing costs. There's so many ways of trying to help our veterans.
Not that they should know it. They are already handling enough, trying to transition back to the civilian world, get their families back in order, get a
Yeah,
job, that they just need to have the help of a professional that knows everything, and just making sure that they're well taken care of at the end of the day.
right.
So that's why we're doing this. And I really wanted to highlight that, and really wanted to thank you also, Elizabeth, for doing that as well. So
So one of the things that I think it's so important for our veterans to know and have access to is the certificate of eligibility. So when you apply for a loan, one of the things that we're going to ask is a certificate of eligibility. That's going to give us a story to know pretty much what you're eligible for. It'll give us information with your disability. We'll do our little research, whatever we need. But that's your ticket to pretty much allow us to give you your benefits.
mm,
In addition to that, your DD 214, that's something that if you're retired, then we're gonna need also. And not to mention, like these are also things that after closing you're gonna need as well. For example, exemption on your primary home. There's certain benefits that a lot of veterans don't realize that they have. So I know that, for example, there's discounts to valorum taxes. And believe me, that's a whole other class when it comes to valorum, non-valorum taxes, blah, blah. So, but DD 214 is something very important that you should have. And then obviously, if there is any type of disability, depending on the percentage, then it's something that again, you could go ahead and get not have to pay taxes, on your house, or maybe partial discounts or whatever it is. So there are a lot of benefits out there for veterans. It's a matter, like you said, of just asking, maybe just guidance, a lot of hand holding, but that's what we're here to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Basically, like, one of the other things is also that there are certain types of housing that we're eligible for, and then there's some that are not. So for example, even if it was like a manufactured home, condo, single families, all of those are included, that they do qualify for these types of homes. Others, such as co-ops, may not be something that we could do for a VA. So there's some restrictions and some specifics that we need to know. But again, that's what we're here to do, is just to guide and make sure that we give you the correct information.
right, and at the end of the day, you just simply don't know what you don't know, and not that you should. You have enough going on. So, definitely, if you're in that situation, you're thinking about potentially buying, or you're thinking about, certain questions that you really could use the answers for, definitely
Mhm.
reach out. My number is going to be at the bottom and listed over here, and so is Elizabeth, my go-to partner when it comes to financing, when it comes to VA loans. She is, in terms of, she's my encyclopedia of information, so that way I can
Mhm.
better communicate that to my fellow peers. So thank you.
Yeah, no, and I thank you so much for having me on here. Like I said before, you just have the heart and passion to do this. And from the very beginning, when I talked to you, I knew that this was going to be something that you wanted to open up, and you just have a heart to wanting to help so many veterans out there. So by all means, I know that you've done your research, you've done your studying there to make sure that we are helping them out there. And again, like you said, we're not expecting anybody to come out thinking that they know it from beginning to end, but just know that you have sources here that are here to help you and guide you.
Thank you so much for your time, Elizabeth.
Thank you.